What is going on, everyone? I had to share this story because it was one that I think a lot of people need to hear right now. Everything going on in our country, in our society. I think that stories like this need to be heard because I think they're going to change people's viewpoint, mindset, and perspective. So let me know where you're tuning in from, city, state, and if you're tuning in from outside of the country, of course, let me know what wonderful country, province, region you're tuning in from. This is a story that I recently heard about, and it blew my mind. So I looked into it a little bit further to get some more details. A young girl who is the daughter of Mexican immigrants leaves home at 12 years old in California. They live in California. Leaves home at the age of 12. For whatever reasons it was, leaves home at 12 years old, leaves home, and is homeless, living on the streets, doing whatever it takes to make her way. Well, at age 15, she becomes pregnant, has a child, and is now a single mother, homeless, no education, living on the streets of Los Angeles. And mind you, this is someone who had to leave home at 12 for whatever reasons and is the daughter of Mexican immigrants who you can imagine were probably having a tough time themselves here in this country. Well, she ended up living in a group home of sorts for single homeless mothers trying to raise her child, and at some point decided that she needed to get an education. So she did what she had to do. She took advantage of whatever programs there were available to get her high school GED diploma. Absolutely incredible. If the story ended there, it would be an incredible story. To be homeless, living on the street for 3 years, then you get pregnant, you have a kid, and you then get your high school diploma. So I know people who don't have their high school diploma and are not homeless. They didn't leave home because of a strained situation at the age of 12. They're not living on the street, and they didn't get their high school degree. They didn't have a child at age 15, and now we're raising a child while trying to get their high school diploma. No, school wasn't for them, it was too difficult, what have you. Okay, so let's continue. She realizes that her senior year of high school, she has a really negative run-in with the police. And this was a tipping point in her life. So she decided that she's going to not complain about the problem, but do something about it. So she decides she's going to become a police officer, but she realizes she needs her college degree. So once again, still living in the home for homeless people and without a cent to her name, enrolls through whatever programs were available, possible to her. She enrolls in college. She studies. She gets her degree in criminal justice. And a few short years later, literally in the same neighborhood where she was living on the streets, gets hired by the LAPD. It is just, I don't even know how to. Now the story doesn't end there. The story doesn't even end there. She now gets hired by the LAPD and is patrolling the neighborhood that she grew up in and she was living in, homeless, on the streets, as a 12-year-old, as a 15-year-old with a baby, trying to bring change to the neighborhood where she grew up. The daughter of Mexican immigrants. Didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. And had a baby on her hip. Without anything. Took advantage of what was afforded to her and exploited those opportunities to get what she needed done. Because she had the desire in her heart. Recently, she was promoted to sergeant. She is now a sergeant with the Los Angeles Police Department. Sergeant Ruiz is someone that not only little girls across this country, but young men and a lot of grown-ups need to read her story, listen to her words. Because right now in this country, we have a whole lot of people complaining about how tough it is for them in this country, how there aren't opportunities for them. The same opportunities are not there for them that there are there for other people. Whole lot of people making excuses for why they don't have certain things, they don't have a certain life. Maybe they want certain things handed to them. Other people who are complaining will look at people who claw and dig and have that desire to succeed, and they will say they got lucky. They got lucky. And to you who says that, I would say, go to Sergeant Ruiz. Point a finger in her face after hearing her story and tell her she got lucky. Tell her that the reason she made it off the streets with a baby living in a shelter is because she got lucky. It was just luck. Tell that to her face. If you want it bad enough, you'll get it. If you don't, you won't. It's that simple. I don't think it was easy for a young Hispanic girl, homeless on the street, and then at age 15 with a baby, with Mexican immigrant parents. I don't think anything was handed to her. I don't think there was any opportunities that fell in her lap. I don't think there was any entitlement that leaned in favor of Miss Ruiz, Sergeant Ruiz. I don't know if there was any Hispanic privilege or female privilege that she benefited from. I don't know. Maybe it was just hard work and desire. Because she had a child. She had to make it. She had to make something of her life. But then the decision to go into a profession that led her to a horrible experience when she was about 18 years old. And she didn't let that experience deter her. She didn't let it sour her. Instead, she said, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to shift that. Maybe I can be part of the change So those sour experiences don't happen so much anymore. Will she be able to eradicate them? No. But if she can impart change so those negative interactions with the police are reduced by 1% even, well, then she's made a difference. Hasn't she? But to all the people out there complaining, well, let's be honest. We see a lot of the protests. We see who's there. Privileged, highly privileged people. Their $1,200 cell phone spitting in the face of the police. Their $1,200 cell phone recording as they destroy, burn, loot. $100 sneakers, $200 Patagonia jackets, belly full of food, never spent a night homeless on the street, let alone with a child, have had everything paid for them by mommy and daddy, and have had every privilege in the world. Yet there they are. Yet they're in the street, screaming and yelling about fascism and oppression. And then you have the people like Sergeant Ruiz who are just doing something about it. They're not complaining about it. They're doing something about it. In 2020, there is no excuse. Ignorance is a choice. Failure is a choice. You are choosing. I don't care whether you're a boy or a girl, a man or a woman, black, brown, or white. In this day and age, if you do not succeed, you have chosen not to succeed. If you do not have knowledge, you are intentionally choosing not to acquire that knowledge. It is your choice. It is not anyone else's fault except your own. You are choosing that. There are similar stories as Sergeant Ruiz with black men and black women. I've told them here before. Black men and black women with absolutely nothing. Literally nothing. That took advantage of every program that was out there for them, and there's a lot of them, and had to beg, borrow, scratch, and they made it. And they made it. I told the story of a friend of mine, similar to Sergeant Ruiz. Nothing, had nothing. Family had nothing, he had nothing. And today he's a successful doctor. Black man. Had some negative run-ins with the police as a kid. Had his fair share of trouble. But got his head on straight and made it happen. No money, no support, no rich uncle, no rich parents. Just the desire in his heart to not be a loser. So he decided he was going to not be a loser in this life. And he decided he was not going to be a victim in this life. He was going to be a winner. He was going to succeed. And he was going to do anything it took to make that a reality. He didn't care. Sometimes on the bus for 2 hours. Sometimes nothing to eat for days while studying for exams in medical school. Failed classes, went back. Begged the professor, give me another chance. Give me another chance. Give me another chance. Ask for another second chance 100 times and made it. If you are not succeeding in this country today, it is because you are choosing not to succeed. There is no other explanation for it. There are just too many stories out there today of people who have made it from nothing for you to keep telling yourself that this thing is floating around in the air, keeping you down, holding you down, oppressing you, making you a victim. The definition of a victim is someone who has no power, powerless. Others have power over them. If that's who you think you are, that's a shame. But I would talk to Sergeant Ruiz and some of the people that I know. They didn't see themselves as victims. They saw themselves as fighters. They were going to fight because they had the heart and desire to make it. There is no excuse for failure in this country today. Other countries, maybe. But guess what? The people in those countries are trying to come to America. Still trying to come to America for a better opportunity. And the people here that want it bad enough, they're fighting and they're doing whatever it takes. They are doing whatever it takes. No one will tell them that they can't do it. No one will tell them that the opportunity isn't there for them. No one will tell them it's not possible. You can't tell Sergeant Ruiz, it's impossible. You're a single mom, you're homeless, you're living on the street, you're 15, you got a baby. You're never going to get your diploma. Okay, maybe you got your diploma, but you're never going to get to college. Get in college. Well, you got it. Well, you're never going to graduate college. Well, you're never going to get a job. This job market's terrible, right? You're never going to get a job. Got hired by the LAPD. She was homeless next door a few years earlier, on the street, near their headquarters. Homeless. Now, I'm sure other people said, well, yeah, you got hired, but you're never going to get promoted. Got promoted to sergeant. Sky's the limit for her. Tell her she got lucky. Tell her. Tell the black people that I know that are business owners, doctors, lawyers today that had nothing. Tell them they got lucky. Tell them that there's no opportunity. Tell them that there's oppression and this and that and all these excuses of why you can't make it. Tell them. The amount of work they put in, they'll laugh in your face. Because they know you're just telling a story. And the time is coming where nobody's buying it. Think about that. More and more people are making it, and less people are going to be buying your bullshit story about why you can't make it.